The night was heavy with rain, the kind that drummed on tin roofs and drowned out reason. A lonely neon sign flickered above the door of Maggie's Roadhouse, a bar on the edge of nowhere, the kind of place where stories die quietly in the hum of old country music and cigarette smoke. The clock above the counter had stopped years ago, but nobody cared. Time didn't move much in a place like this. That night, the door creaked open, and a cold gust swept in with a man who looked like he carried the storm inside him. He was tall, rough, with a leather jacket soaked from the rain and eyes that had seen too much. His boots echoed as he walked to the counter. No one said a word, but everyone looked. You could tell what kind of man he was. A biker, the kind who lived life a mile at a time, running from something that could never quite be left behind. The bartender nodded, silent understanding between men who didn't need words. The stranger dropped his helmet on the bar, its skull decal faded and scratched. "Whiskey," he said, voice low and rough. The bartender poured it without question. The biker downed it in one go, asked for another, then another. At the far end of the bar, a group of locals laughed too loud, already half drunk, playing cards and talking big. They watched him with the kind of suspicion small towns reserve for outsiders. But the waitress, she noticed something else. Her name was Lily, mid-30s, worn denim, tired eyes but kind, the kind of person who'd seen more heartbreak than she deserved, but still smiled for strangers. She had a quiet strength about her, the sort that made people feel safe without knowing why. She approached him softly, setting down a napkin beside his glass. "Rough night?" she asked. He looked up, eyes dark under his brow. "Rough life," he replied. Something in that answer made her pause. She gave a small, knowing smile. "Aren't they all?" Then she turned away to serve another table. The bar settled back into its usual rhythm, the jukebox groaning out an old country song, dice rolling, glasses clinking. But under the noise there was tension, the kind you could almost taste. The biker kept drinking, each glass dulling something he didn't want to feel. Hours passed. The rain outside turned to a drizzle and the crowd grew bolder. One of the locals, a burly man with a mean grin and too much beer in him, decided the stranger had had enough of his piece. He swaggered over, slamming his hand down on the bar next to the biker's drink. "You ain't from around here," he slurred. The biker didn't look up. "Nope. That your bike outside?" "Yeah, nice ride." "Be a shame if something happened to it." The biker's jaw tightened. "Walk away." But the man didn't. He laughed, grabbed the biker's shoulder, and that's when things snapped. In a flash, the biker spun on his stool, knocking the man's hand away and standing to his full height. The bar went quiet. The drunk shoved him hard and the fight began, a blur of fists, shouts, and crashing furniture. The other locals jumped in, and in the chaos Lily tried to break it up, shouting for them to stop. But the biker, swinging wildly to defend himself, stumbled back and by accident his hand caught her shirt, tearing it clean across the shoulder. The sound of fabric ripping cut through the noise like a gunshot. Everything stopped. Lily froze, eyes wide, clutching what was left of her shirt. The room fell silent. Even the jukebox seemed to hold its breath. The biker's chest rose and fell, adrenaline still surging through him, but then his eyes fell on what the torn fabric revealed. On her shoulder, just below the collarbone, was a tattoo. Small, faded, but unmistakable. The black and gray insignia of a military unit. His military unit. The room blurred around him. His breath caught in his throat. Where did you get that?" he asked, voice barely above a whisper. Lily looked confused, defensive at first. "What?" "That tattoo," he said, pointing with a trembling hand. "That's the mark of the 23rd Recon, 2nd Division, right?" Her face softened. She nodded slowly. "Yeah, my brother served. He didn't make it back." The biker's world stopped spinning. He swallowed hard, his eyes burning. What was his name? She hesitated, sensing something shifting in him. Michael Donnelly." He stumbled back a step, shaking his head like he'd seen a ghost. His voice cracked when he spoke. "Michael was my brother." Gasps rippled through the bar. No one moved. Lily's lips parted in disbelief. She stared at him, really stared, and beneath the rough beard and road scars she began to see it, the resemblance. The same sharp jawline. "The same eyes, you're—" She started but couldn't finish. "Eli," he said softly. "Eli Donnelly." The room faded away. It was just the two of them, caught in the echo of a war neither of them had truly escaped. She stumbled forward, tears welling up. "They told me you died, Eli. The report said you were MIA. I thought I lost both of you." He shook his head slowly, voice trembling. "I should have been. Mike saved me. We were ambushed. He dragged me out, took the hit himself. I woke up in a hospital across the border. Spent months there. When I came back, everything was gone, the house, the family. I couldn't face anyone. I didn't even know you were still here." Tears streamed down her face. "I stayed. Someone had to. Mom died the next year. After that, I just worked. Tried to keep going." Eli's knees almost buckled. The bar, full of strangers moments ago, had turned into witnesses of something sacred. The bartender quietly turned away, giving them space. The locals, even the ones who started the fight, were silent, guilt washing over their faces. Eli's voice was rough when he spoke again. "I thought I lost everything that night, but you were here the whole time." She stepped closer, reaching out, placing a trembling hand on his arm. "And you came home," she whispered. For the first time in years, he let himself breathe. They sat together at the bar after that, long after everyone else had left. She patched his cut lip and he told her about the years he spent wandering from town to town, never staying long enough to be known. She told him how she'd kept Mike's memory alive, volunteering at veterans' shelters, helping strangers who reminded her of him. As dawn crept through the windows, Eli stared at the rising light, his heart heavier and lighter all at once. "I spent so long running from ghosts," he said quietly. "Guess one finally caught up." Lily smiled softly. "Not a ghost, Eli, family." He nodded, blinking away tears. "I don't deserve this. You deserve peace," she said. "And maybe this time don't run from it." For the first time he smiled, a real human smile. The weight of years seemed to lift. Outside, the rain had stopped. The road glistened under the pale sun. The same road that had carried him away was now waiting to carry him back, not to war, not to pain, but to the place he never thought he'd find again. He stood by his bike, running a hand over the gas tank. The skull decal looked different in the morning light, not like a symbol of death anymore, but of survival. Lily stood at the doorway, arms folded, watching him. "You really leaving?" she asked softly. He looked up at her. "Not for long. Just need to make things right. Visit Mike's grave. Say the things I should have said years ago," she nodded. "Then come back." "You've got a place here," he smiled faintly. "Yeah, I think I do." He started the bike, the engine roaring to life, not angry this time, but alive. As he pulled onto the open road, he felt something shift inside him. The ghosts were still there, but they weren't chasing him anymore. They were guiding him home. In that small town bar beneath a flickering neon sign, a story that began with violence ended with something far stronger. Forgiveness. A brother and sister, reunited not by chance, but by the quiet hands of fate. And though no one in that bar would ever forget the night the biker ripped the waitress's shirt, they'd always remember what came after, the silence, the tears, and the moment a lost soul finally found his way home. Because sometimes, the hardest roads lead back to where we were always meant to be. And sometimes the storm doesn't break you, it brings you home.